The Grand Imperial Hotel had never been so quiet. Jessica was gone. The front desk had changed shifts, and the new receptionist, clearly aware of what had happened, was overly cautious in every interaction. The staff moved with precision, their usual confidence now replaced with something more careful, more aware. The tension from earlier still lingered, like a storm that had passed but left behind an unsettling silence. It's near the fireplace, Emily. The woman who had recognized Lisa Carter first was still seated with her husband David. She swirled the last of her wine in her glass, her gaze shifting between the front desk and the elevators. "I bet Jessica will never judge someone by their appearance again," she murmured, half to herself. David let out a low chuckle, shaking his head as he took a sip of his drink. "If she even gets another job anywhere after this." Emily exhaled, glancing toward the elevators where Lisa and Keanu Reeves had disappeared hours ago. She had no idea who she was dealing with, Emily mused. And now, the whole world knows exactly who she is. The thought sent a ripple through her chest. How quickly someone's life could change. How one moment of arrogance, one careless assumption could unravel everything. And Jessica would have to live with the consequences. Upstairs in a suite overlooking the glittering city skyline, Lisa Carter sat at the edge of the massive king-size bed. The room was everything you would expect from a place like Grand Imperial. Crisp white sheets, marble bathroom counters, and a view that stretched beyond the city lights. It was luxury, a place designed to make someone feel important, pampered. But Lisa felt none of that. She was exhausted. Not just from the travel, not just from the night's events, but from something deeper, the weight of it all. Across the room, Keanu stood by the window, his hands resting in his pockets as he looked out at the streets below. The rain had finally stopped, leaving the pavement slick and shining under the glow of street lamps. "She got what she deserved," Keanu finally said, his voice even. Lisa let out a soft sigh, shaking her head. "Maybe." Keanu turned, studying her. "That doesn't sound like relief." Lisa ran a hand through her hair, exhaling. "It's not about what she did to me," she admitted. "It's about the fact that this happens all the time. To people who don't have someone like you walking in at the right moment." Keanu was silent. He knew she was right. He had seen it before. How often people were dismissed, ignored, treated as if they were invisible just because they didn't look like they belonged. Lisa looked down at her hands. "What if I had been someone else?" she asked quietly. "Someone without a famous name or a friend like you?" Keanu crossed the room, lowering himself into the armchair across from her. "You can't carry the weight of the world on your shoulders," he said gently. Lisa gave him a small, tired smile. Keanu leaned back, a flicker of amusement in his eyes. "You probably don't remember," he mused, "but when I was just another struggling actor trying to make it, there was an event. A party, full of important people. I was nobody. And you," he paused, watching her reaction. "You were one of the only ones who stopped to talk to me, treated me like I mattered." Lisa's brow furrowed slightly, trying to pull the memory from the past, but she couldn't quite place it. Keanu smiled knowingly. "That's just who you are," he said. "And maybe tonight, it was my turn to return the favor." Lisa exhaled slowly, the weight in her chest lifting just slightly. The energy in the Grand Imperial lobby was different when Lisa and Keanu stepped out of the elevator the next morning. A cautious silence. The staff was more attentive. Too attentive. The hotel manager, Mr. Williams, was already waiting, a carefully practiced smile on his face, his hands clasped in front of him like a man trying to salvage something before it collapsed completely. "Mr. Reeves, Miss Carter," he greeted them, his voice smooth but just a little too eager. "On behalf of Grand Imperial, I'd like to extend our sincerest apologies for what happened last night." Lisa remained silent, watching him. "To make it up to you," Mr. Williams continued, "we'd like to offer you a complimentary stay for as long as you'd like. And a private dinner, on the house, of course. Anything you need, we'd be more than happy to arrange." The desperation in his voice was subtle, but it was there. Keanu glanced at Lisa. She didn't need to say anything. The answer was already written in her expression. Lisa adjusted the strap of her bag over her shoulder. "We appreciate the offer, Mr. Williams," she said politely, "but I think this time we won't be staying any longer." The manager forced a smile, but his discomfort was evident. Keanu picked up his suitcase and followed Lisa toward the exit. As they passed through the lobby, some of the staff lowered their heads discreetly, a quiet acknowledgement of everything that had unfolded the night before. As the doors of the hotel slid open, the crisp morning air greeted them. The city was already awake, the streets bustling with movement, the world moving forward. Lisa turned to Keanu, a small smirk playing at her lips. Hello, she murmured. Kellerman raised an eyebrow. Heather? That's what Jessica called me last night, Lisa said, shaking her head in mild amusement. Didn't even bother to hear my real name. Keanu let out a short laugh. Well, I doubt she'll forget it now. Lisa glanced back at the hotel one last time before stepping into the car waiting for them. She had walked into that hotel the night before expecting nothing more than a quiet place to sleep. Instead, she had become part of a moment that people would talk about for a long time. As the car pulled away, Lisa's phone buzzed. A message from a friend, a link. Lisa clicked it and a video started playing. Keanu glanced over, curious. What is it? Lisa shook her head, a small smile forming as she watched the clip. Someone had recorded the moment in the lobby. The headline beneath it read, Keanu Reeves stands up for friend after luxury hotel receptionist tries to turn her away. She exhaled, setting her phone down. Nothing, she murmured, staring out the window. Just a little seed being planted. Keanu smirked, watching her. See, he said lightly, told you would make a difference. Lisa didn't respond, but she smiled. Because maybe, just maybe, he was right. The story of Lisa Carter at the Grand Imperial is more than just an unfortunate hotel encounter. It's a powerful lesson in humility, respect, and the dangers of quick judgment. In a world where appearances often dictate how people are treated, this incident serves as a stark reminder that everyone deserves dignity, regardless of how they look or what status they hold. Jessica, the receptionist, made the mistake of assuming value based on outward perception rather than character, and she paid the price for it. In today's society, where social media amplifies every misstep, treating people with kindness isn't just the right thing to do, it's essential. The reality is that anyone could find themselves in Lisa's position, dismissed or overlooked simply because they don't fit the mold of what someone expects. Whether in customer service, business, or personal relationships, leading with respect and fairness ensures that we never undervalue someone based on assumptions. Keanu Reeves' reaction highlights another critical lesson: standing up for others. In a world that often turns a blind eye, being an advocate for fairness and justice can make all the difference. A small act of support like his has the power to shift perspectives, change lives, and remind people that integrity always matters.